Ever stared into a beautifully lit aquarium and just felt mesmerized by its glow? That captivating shimmer, well, it isn't just for show. It's actually the silent powerhouse driving the health and, the vibrancy of your whole aquatic setup. Today, we're diving deep into your sources to kind of unpack the science behind aquarium lighting. We want to see how it can really transform your fish, your plants, even the subtle behaviors you see in the tank. Okay, so let's unlock the secrets to choosing the perfect light spectrum for your underwater world.
Yeah, and what's truly fascinating is how precise we can get with light. Now, the visible spectrum that really matters for aquariums, it generally spans from about 400 to 700 nanometers, but it's the specific wavelengths within that range that really hold the power. Take blue light, for example,
Hmm.
especially that 450 to 495 nanometer peak. Our sources show it's not just about making things look pretty, it's actually crucial for certain cellular processes in both fish and plants. It promotes growth and really enhances those amazing natural colors.
So wait, it's less about just having a blue light and more about hitting those exact wavelengths to trigger like biological responses. That's probably a game changer for a lot of hobbyists.
Precisely. Yeah. And while blue light gets, a lot of the attention, we can't forget green light. That's roughly 495 to 570 nanometers. We often think it's just for looks for us, but it's surprisingly important for plant photosynthesis, which, contributes to the whole tank's health.
Hmm.
Then you've got red light around 620 to 750 nanometers. This part of the spectrum really makes those red and orange fish colors pop. And it's a real powerhouse for plant growth, too, helps with chlorophyll.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me based on these sources, something most of us probably never even think about. Fish don't see light anything like we do.
Yeah,
And that insight, well, it totally shifts how we should be thinking about lighting, right?
that's a critical point. If we're designing an environment for fish, we really need to understand how they perceive it. Many fish, unlike us humans, can actually see ultraviolet light, UV light. This ability, which is invisible to us, helps them spot patterns on other fish, find food, maybe even navigate in ways we can barely imagine. They're also particularly sensitive to blue and green wavelengths, much more so than we are. And, what's more, their vision is often adapted to depth. Blue light travels farthest in water, so fish from deeper areas have evolved this heightened sensitivity to those blue wavelengths.
Wow. Okay, so knowing fish have this completely different visual experience, what does that actually mean for us when we're, trying to pick out a light? It sounds like there's way more to think about than just how bright it looks to our eyes.
Absolutely. The first step is really thinking about your specific tank. Is it freshwater or saltwater? They have pretty different spectral needs. Then, tank size. Obviously, a bigger, deeper tank needs more powerful light. It needs to penetrate all the way down. Now, when it comes to the type of lighting, the sources consistently point towards LEDs. They really seem to be the gold standard these days. They're just so energy efficient, they last a long time. You get incredible control over the color spectrum, they're dimmable, and they put out very little heat, which is a bonus. Sure, fluorescents are still common, especially for freshwater, and you see metal halides for those really intense reef setups. But LEDs, they just offer unmatched control. And, for serious Clantid tanks, it's not just about the Kelvin rating, the color temperature. It's about PAR, photosynthetically active radiation. That's the actual light energy plants use. Sources show optimal growth often needs good, consistent PAR levels across the whole tank, not just a specific Kelvin number.
Right, PAR. That makes sense. And what about the overall color of the light itself, beyond those specific blue, green, red peaks?
Well, that's where full spectrum lights come into play. They aim to mimic natural sunlight. And we measure that overall color appearance in Kelvin, or K. So like a 6500 K light might look like bright midday sun. It's great for enhancing fish colors and boosting plant photosynthesis, and please don't underestimate the power of a simple timer. Seriously. Regulating those light cycles, usually around 8 to 10 hours a day, is absolutely vital. It mimics natural day-night rhythms, supports the fish's internal clocks, their circadian rhythms, and that drastically reduces stress.
Okay, so choosing the right spectrum is definitely not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. It sounds like different fish and plants have really unique needs.
Exactly right. For your typical tropical freshwater fish, a balanced full spectrum light, often somewhere between 5,000 K and 7,000 K, is usually a good bet. Marine fish, though, especially if you have corals, they really benefit from those blue heavy spectrums.
Hmm.
Think 10,000 K up to maybe 20,000 K. It simulates that deeper ocean light. Planted tanks, like we touched on, they need those good full-spectrum grow lights, often around 6500K, but with enough PAR. And then you have nocturnal fish, or ones that are just really light sensitive. For them, you'd want dim red or blue lights, or maybe just low-intensity warmer lights, so you don't stress them out when they're supposed to be active.
Yeah, and I bet it's easy to make mistakes that could just throw the whole tank out of whack, isn't it? Like maybe thinking more light is always the answer.
Oh, definitely. That's a classic mistake. Too much light is a very common pitfall, and it almost always leads to just rampant, ugly algae growth. But the opposite is also true. Too little light gives you dull-looking fish, poor colors, and your plants just won't grow well. They'll look stunted. Another, maybe more subtle mistake is using a light spectrum that just isn't right for the specific fish or plants you have. That can cause real chronic stress for the fish. And a lot of people misdiagnose algae problems. They blame nutrients, which can be a factor, but sometimes it's actually the light's red spectrum. While it's great for plants, it can also inadvertently fuel certain types of nuisance algae if you don't manage the duration and intensity just right.
Okay, so wrapping this deep dive up then.
Mm.
Aquarium lighting is clearly way more than just making the tank look pretty. It's like a critical, dynamic life support system.
Exactly. If you connect all these dots, understanding the science behind the light, well, it profoundly impacts basically everything. Fish behavior, their coloration, even the intricate biochemistry of the whole tank ecosystem.
So what this all means for you, listening, is that the right light truly does create a thriving, vibrant home. A place where your finned friends don't just survive, they actually feel, right at home.
And thinking about all this, it kind of raises an important question, doesn't it?
Hmm.
Given that fish can perceive light in ways we can't, like seeing UV, what other unseen elements of their environment might be absolutely crucial to their well-being? Things we're maybe only just starting to understand.